Assalamu alaikum. Hello and welcome. I'm Shazia, joining you on the Nutrition Show on Unity FM 93.5 FM. I'm really excited to have you all join me today for a discussion on topics related to nutrition, which I hope is going to serve you and your family and anyone that you actually influence with better health and well-being. So as always, and before I get into the topic of the day, I want to remind listeners that all information shared on the show today is general in nature. For anyone with any medical issues or concerns related to what I talk about today or otherwise, please be sure to check in with your own medical practitioner to see what advice you need for your specific condition. So today I want to talk about superfoods, a buzzword indeed, and this is something that has been around in the nutrition world for some time. Something that maybe a lot of you have already heard about. If you haven't, please stay tuned because it's something that you might want to look into. And it's something that is actually really worthwhile looking into if you've never really considered what superfoods are. And perhaps like me, when I first started looking into this, it sort of took away a lot of the fear that I had about what superfoods were actually kind of meant to be. It's such an interesting concept, actually, and I would really advise everyone to kind of dig into the research, have a look at what these actually mean, and you'll be pleasantly surprised. I'm going to talk a little bit more about this anyway, so just to kind of set the scene. So what does a superfood mean to you? Any specific thoughts come up or any kind of ideas? I mean, the word in and of itself does mean a lot, super and food, so it kind of gives you some idea of what the word actually means. Perhaps you're thinking foods with special healing properties, disease prevention, health support, improving life, prolonging life. What kind of comes to your mind when you think about the word superfood? What does a superfood even look like? Does it have to look a certain way? Does it have to taste a certain way? That's a kind of a very general kind of understanding, even though it's probably irrelevant because ultimately every food is unique, and the idea is that we look to our bodies as a complete system, and we look at the food that we consume also as a complete system, in that not one food is going to provide us with everything that we need. The idea is to kind of get our diet from a varied source, changing things up, using other ingredients to kind of intensify the nutritional value of what we consume. It's never a case of looking for a simple fix. I was speaking to someone recently and they said, can't I just have a pill for my protein intake? And it really irritated me because I thought, we have access to such wholesome and amazing foods. We're so fortunate in the UK. And this kind of question just really wasn't the question I would have expected to have been asked. But we have these questions being asked because people are in that kind of mindset. And I think it's important to understand that our bodies are not designed just to manufacture something and consume, our nutrients in that way. We are part of nature. We're supposed to be looking to nature for our food and our intake of all the different nutrients that we need, whether they be vitamins, minerals, fibers, healthy fats, whatever they may be. So, it's something really to think about. Do superfoods worry you? Does that word kind of get you a little bit anxious? It did me to begin with, so I'm asking the question. Maybe you're wondering whether superfoods are just for the super wealthy. That's a really, valid point sometimes. And why do I say this? Because you automatically assume superfoods are expensive. You're on a budget. Living costs are always on the increase. So how do you eat better? How do you consume these superfoods when you're on a budget? Just for the special ones of us out there amongst us, right? So you might be thinking all of these questions, and actually they're all very relevant. So what I want you to understand, and I want you to hear me out if you're one of the skeptical ones or the worried ones, because you're going to be pleasantly surprised, like I was when I did my research on superfoods. And I really did have the wrong idea before I educated myself. And I'm so glad that I did. I want you to stay tuned because this may encourage you to incorporate these amazing foods if you're not doing it already. You might be surprised that you are doing it already and you just didn't know they were superfoods. And you'll find actually that many of them are so readily available and relatively inexpensive that really we need to ask ourselves, do we have an excuse for not incorporating these foods or trying them out at least just to make our bodies that much better from a nutritional standpoint? Something that really does need to be looked into. So whilst there's no specific definition or control definition of superfoods, I wanted to kind of set the scene by looking for definitions that are available out there. So just to kind of get you into this, the Cambridge Dictionary says a superfood is considered to be very good for your health. That's a very general definition, doesn't really tell us much at all, but it's kind of telling you about the super aspect of what a superfood is. The Merriam-Webster Dictionary provided a bit more of a comprehensive definition, giving examples of foods as well. So here I'm giving you, some of these examples away already. So this dictionary describes a superfood as a food such as salmon, broccoli, or blueberries that are rich in compounds such as antioxidants, fiber, or fatty acids, considered beneficial to a person's health. So you can see already that we've got a bit more of a meatier definition there, telling us that these foods have a lot of good stuff in them. So these are what you could consider packed with the kinds of nutrients that we need for our body to be able to function at its best. I really liked the definition on the Harvard Chan Public School of Health, and what they say is a superfood is a food promoted to superfood status when it offers high levels of desirable nutrients linked to the prevention of a disease or believed to offer several simultaneous health benefits beyond its nutritional value. So there's a huge amount of information in there, and I really like that because it gave us much more about the reasons for why a food is kind of allocated into that category. So high levels of desirable nutrients linked to prevention of disease, believed to offer several simultaneous health benefits. It's not just benefiting one body system, it's offering benefit to many body systems. And remember, we are a whole array of body systems working together. Our body systems aren't working on their own. This is why oftentimes in clinic, I will talk to my clients about working on the gut. Even if I'm looking to support a skin complaint, I'm working on the gut first. So, these things are interconnected. And as you start to improve one part of the body, you actually see benefits in other parts of the body as well, which is the real beauty of nutrition. It's very comprehensive. Okay, so that's kind of giving you a little bit of a background as to the definition. Just again, it's for kind of setting the scene, and it should already be indicating why this is such a good topic to be reading about, finding out about, and looking at how you can start to incorporate these foods. So the story of how superfoods actually came about is really interesting. I wasn't actually aware of this until I looked into it for the purpose of researching the material for today's show. But it did bring a smile to my face, and I would encourage everyone listening to take some time out to read about this, and you can see how things started and the journey itself, and how things are today, and how that kind of progression has been made. The interesting aspects obviously being the marketing hype and the subsequent monetization behind this concept. So, we know that the health industry is a big industry, and it's often quite frightening for people, especially when they're starting out, to kind of ever imagine being in a better place in regards to their health, because they're just so scared of all the nutritional jargon that's kind of out there, and the fancy packaging of items and how they might be only available in certain stores or in certain aisles. All these things can be quite frightening. I found them quite frightening when I started out. But actually what you need to do is, once you start learning the basics, you can start to see where those things fit in. And, nutrition is a journey. You're trying to get to an optimal stage. We're always improving. And depending on what your health goals are, you're going to be looking into this more and more. naturally, because once you've reached a certain kind of goalpost, you're probably going to want to then start working your way to the next goalpost. That's kind of what happens, because it's quite addictive. Excuse the word, but it is very much like that. And as I've said before, failure and not achieving goals are also common kind of outcomes in the journey, but that doesn't mean that you totally give up. It's just finding a way to continue your journey, whether you're taking baby steps or whether you're taking leaps. It's a combination of the two, inevitably, most of the time. And I see that in my clinics when I'm working with my clients, that it is something that you have to be really patient with. Okay, so the purpose then of today's show is to kind of set the scene, to give you a bit of a taster of the kinds of foods that fall into this category. Some of these might be unexpected. Some of these might be, foods that, it makes complete sense because they're always being kind of highlighted on, any nutrition show or any nutrition magazine you read, or, in the supermarkets, you always see these types of foods advertised. So there's going to be a kind of a mixture. I've tried to include some that you'll see as everyday foods, because I want you to be, really thinking about, actually, it's not as hard as you might have imagined it to be to incorporate these. But then I want to also include foods that you may not have tried before and you might want to try. So it's a bit of a mixture. The list is not going to be exhaustive because I don't have time for that in the hour. And also I want you to start looking at it, because remember, this is your body. I'm only kind of setting or giving you an example of what you can look into to serve your body and your health. So this is going to be your kind of impetus, if you like, to go and look this up for yourself. Okay, so many foods can have super qualities when it comes to supporting our health and well-being, and the idea is that we want to be able to access these foods, access them, use them, experiment with them, and not be afraid of breaking the bank when it comes to actually putting them onto our regular shopping list, making them, items that we pick up every time we go to the supermarket. And, many times it's about substituting foods. So what can you give up today, once you've heard this show, to try a superfood instead? Think about that. It's quite strong. It's actually very powerful. So think about something that you can give up on your next shopping trip to swap out for a healthy superfood that you've maybe not tried before, or maybe buy more of and utilize more of in the week. Okay, so that's just kind of a challenge for you before I get started. So before I go on, I just want to kind of put it in there that basically I'm not providing any medical advice in any shape or form. This is actually just for educational purposes. It's there to help you to think about what you can do for your body, for your family's bodies, for those that you look after and can influence. It's about education and empowerment. Those are the two keywords I like to use over and over again, because that's what nutrition did for me. It helped me to educate myself, it helped me to empower myself, and I'm doing the same for people at all levels as much as I can, because I'm just so passionate about it. I just feel that it's the best thing that could have happened to me in my learning journey, and I just want it to be something that is the same, has the same effect on you and everyone listening. And I want more and more people to listen, because I want more and more people to benefit. That's the idea of the show. So just bear that in mind. If you are concerned about any health issue, or you have a worry, or you need to find out more, specific information, speak to your GP first, because they're there to help you. They know you. They're going to know your medical history. They're going to know everything about you. So they'll be able to give you the most appropriate advice. And then also work with a practitioner. When you do seek out practitioner support, make sure you're finding someone who's got an appropriate training background, who's accredited, who's got the knowledge and experience. I speak to people all the time. And when I'm not able to help, I will always refer people on. So that, I have a network of people who work in these fields. There's just so much out there. Don't feel like if you've not been able to get through to someone on the first occasion that's it. It's so big. There are so many people out there doing amazing work. Work with them in conjunction with your GP, because you'll find that things can be tailored to you specifically. Okay, so what kinds of things then can we start to look at then? So when we're looking at foods that fall into this category, I don't think there's a kind of a specific list. You'll find from different websites, different types of foods, different kind of variations of the same type of food as well. So it's not there to confuse you. Take it as a list. Take it as something that you can try. There's no kind of harm in mixing and matching, trying something. If something doesn't work for you on the one occasion, you can try something else. The idea is that you start to look at these foods, read about them, go online, look at the health benefits of these foods. What can they do for you? Why are they even, discussed as a superfood? What kind of things, what kind of properties are kind of, inherent to that particular food item? What is the research showing about this particular food group? Research is being done on food. It's just that it's not readily available in the same way as other research, but that doesn't mean it's not there. You need to look for the research. And this is what we do as nutritional therapists. We look at the research and then utilize that in our plans when we work with our clients in practice. So the research is there. You just need to kind of really do a lot of digging to try and find it. Some foods, the research is so vast, and I'm going to talk about one particular one in today's show, that you're just left in mind. Your mind is just blown. It's so amazing. I mean, I'm lost for words thinking of how to describe it. So I'm going to talk about a particular food later on today. Every time I read and learn about nutrition and foods, I'm just kind of like, this is just so amazing. I never get bored. That's kind of what I'm trying to say. So I just want to share a few ideas to kind of highlight the benefits of some foods and potential health benefits, and then see how you can actually start to incorporate them into your day-to-day nutrition. So not all of these will be suitable for everyone, as I've mentioned, because this is, we're unique in how we respond. So this is worth looking into before you get started. Your acceptability might be different. There might be other factors like intolerances, allergies, sensitivities. These are all going to shape what we can and can't consume, especially when we're just kind of, experimenting. But obviously, these kinds of things can always be taken to the next level when you work with a practitioner. And as I've mentioned, always speak to your GP when you're making drastic changes to your health, especially when you're on medication. Some medications can be affected by food changes. So you want to really be having that conversation with your GP, letting them know that you're making these changes. And then, your nutritional professional will be doing the same or advising you of the same. Okay. So what are some examples then? So let's get started. So berries is my first example. Absolutely love them. So berries are loaded with antioxidants, vitamins, minerals. Examples include blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, strawberries, cranberries, and the list goes on. They may support health in areas such as the cardiovascular system, as well as other inflammatory conditions. So easy to consume. I don't even have to look for a recipe. I consume any berries I buy as they hit the kitchen as I get in. It's like they're just so easy to consume. They're just so tasty in and of themselves that berries don't last in our home. They're gone as soon as I'm home from the grocery store. Excellent for snacking. Um, I don't personally. I never feel I get enough of having berries, but obviously we want to kind of consume a variety, so we want to go for portion sizes. But berries are just an amazing, amazing source of nutrition all around. You can add them to your breakfast. So whether you're doing overnight oats, chia pudding, a smoothie bowl, think about how you can incorporate them, whether you're just using them as toppings or whether you're actually incorporating them into the actual, breakfast that you're making. They're great in a salad. I love baking with them. Blueberry muffins are really nice. amazing, delicious treat. I think, whether you have them for breakfast or with your dinner, really easy to have and make. I love frozen berries. So oftentimes when I'm craving ice cream, I will just have some frozen berries. They're just so nice to consume. I do wait till they get to a little bit of room temperature because I don't like things that are too cold. But really nice if you have a mixed bag of frozen berries. Just munch on them if you're looking for a quick and satisfying craving, like when you've not got ice cream to hand. Okay. My second one is legumes. Okay, so these are also known as pulses and include lentils, peas, chickpeas, beans, soy, and peanuts. So, yes, peanut is technically a legume as well as alfalfa. Legumes provide a supply of B vitamins, several minerals, and a good amount of protein. I mean, if you're a vegan or vegetarian, you might be getting a lot of your protein from legumes, especially if you're a vegan, and also fibers as well. Okay, so we are finding that there are many health benefits associated with the consumption of legumes, and this could be in areas such as type 2 diabetes, as well as in cardiovascular health. So these conditions can be supported by the consumption of a variety of legumes. Okay, so in terms of cardiovascular health, more specifically, we're looking at blood pressure control as well as cholesterol management. Again, not medical advice, but we want to be consuming foods to get the benefits from food as well. The idea is that we're getting our benefits from the food to support us with these health issues that we may face. Legumes can be a great addition to meals as they are filling and can therefore help reduce unhealthy cravings. They tend to be quite satiating. So, I find that if I have like a bowl of lentil soup together with some salads and things, and some healthy fats, I'm not really hungry for a good few hours. So you can make those part and parcel of your meal. You can add a nice grain to that if you are able to consume grain. So I like to have them with some quinoa or some brown rice. Really nice meal, and really filling as well. So these could be a great option for those people who are looking at weight management. So you want to kind of keep those unhealthy cravings away by making sure that you're full for your day. And when you're full, you want to be full with good foods, right? You want to be filling your belly with nutritious options that are also going to be kind of keeping you away from the foods that aren't so good for your body. Okay, so legumes can be enjoyed in soups and salads as dips. My family make lentil kebabs. I don't know if you've tried them before. So you're just kind of swapping out meat and you're using lentils instead. So you're cooking the lentils, you're mashing them up, combining them with all the other ingredients, making patties, and then you can fry. I mean, you can air fry. I tend to do them in the oven. I know a lot of people deep fry, which my family and I don't do, because it's not ideal, to be honest, when it comes to looking at your health sort of choices, because oftentimes due to the types of oils that we tend to use when we're deep frying. This is a conversation for another show, but these are ways that you can consume legumes. And actually, in my research, one that I would really love to try is black bean brownies. So really interesting. They look absolutely delicious. So that's one I'm going to try next time when I'm in the kitchen. If you try them, feel free to get in touch and let me know how you got on, because that's kind of next on my list to do. Okay, so further along then, nuts and seeds. I absolutely love nuts and seeds. They're a daily staple in our home. All-time favorite. So easy to consume, great for snacking, rich in fiber, vegetarian proteins, and healthy fats. Okay, so much benefit from these little, packet-sized ingredients that we can find in our everyday supermarkets, so readily available. Lots of amazing properties in terms of anti-inflammatory benefits, antioxidant properties. So, if you're thinking about inflammation, nuts and seeds could support with inflammatory based kind of health conditions. Again, remember, not medical advice, just there to kind of give you ideas of what you can do to support your body naturally. Benefits in cardiovascular issues is what we're seeing from the research. Common nuts and seeds, goes without saying, almonds, walnuts, amazing options, pecans, macadamia is amazing if you can get hold of them. I love to have pine nuts once in a while, a little bit more expensive, but as a treat, amazing. Think about pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, chia, flax, hemp. The list just goes on and on and on. I know we tended to buy quite a lot of melon seeds, so another one that you can incorporate. And poppy seeds are amazing as well. Tiny little blue, packets of health. Really, really nice. Change them up so that you don't get bored. And what can you do? You can add them to things. So add them to your cereal for that crunch. You can add them to your soups and stir fries at the end for a crunch. I like to put them into my baking. Like I said, snacks always consist of nuts for me. I can have nuts all day long. It's just, they're so easy to consume. They are, on the higher side when it comes to calories. So obviously everything in proportion. Think about, how many are, sort of intended for daily intake. So, you don't want to go overboard. Again, everything in moderation, in the right sort of portion sizes to give us the benefit of other foods as well. So you don't want to be overdoing things. You want to sort of be, aiming for a healthy, balanced diet, but definitely worth consuming if you are not intolerant to them. Okay, so what else can we look at? Well, I had to put this one in there because it's another favorite of mine. Avocados. So, in case this is a surprise to you, as it was for me originally, avocado is actually a fruit and not a vegetable. Packed with nutrients, including fiber, minerals, vitamins, healthy fats. Okay, healthy fats is the reason why I consume them. Absolutely love them for my healthy fats. The fats in avocado are like the ones in olive oil. So these are the monounsaturated fatty acids, movers, if you're looking for the abbreviation. Absolutely amazing. Several benefits to several body systems. Think about, again, cardiovascular health. Again, you can see these foods are really benefiting the heart. So, we all need this support. Cardiovascular disease is a massive problem, especially in the South Asian community. When you look at the statistics, I am just so fearful. We really do need to get our act, we need to get ourselves into gear, sort ourselves out really, because heart health is absolutely integral. Our heart works day and night. We're asleep, it's still working. We need to support our heart. Okay. Diabetes, also some benefits there. And even there's been information out there about supporting some types of cancers as well. So again, not medical advice, but research is showing that there are potential benefits in these areas of health. Add them to a salad. I just chop them up sometimes with some tomato and a cheese of my choice, or maybe mozzarella or something like that, just for a really nice salad. You can make some homemade guacamole, spread over a wholemeal toast if you've got some really nice ripe avocados. You can even make your own chocolate mousse and chocolate shake using avocados as a base. Really creamy, absolutely amazing. You'll never know that you had an avocado in this. If you want to get avocado into your family, especially with fussy young kids, that's a really good way to do it. Choose a nice healthy recipe, loads online. Don't put sugars in there. Think about natural options. You can really, really go to town with avocado. It's such an amazing ingredient. So these were a few superfoods we can start to incorporate if we haven't already. Please stay tuned as I will be diving into more after this short break. So you're listening to me, Shazia, on the Nutrition Show on Unity FM 93.5 FM. Back with you shortly. Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to the Nutrition Show. You're joining me, Shazia, on Unity FM 93.5 FM. So before the break, I was looking at a couple of superfood examples, talking about what they contain, how they may benefit, and the ways that you can utilize them. And for the second half of the show, I'm going to do the same because there's just so many that I want to talk about. And, like I said before, the hour just does not allow me time to talk about everything related to superfoods. But I really just want you to get a taste, pun intended, for what you could actually start to incorporate and really get your body working to a much better level just by changing what you eat. So as I mentioned, the idea is to give you examples, look at what they can do for you, how readily available they are, how easy they are to actually get. We're so blessed. This is just not an excuse. And so with so many of them being relatively cost effective, and I did give you a tip on how to do this. Swap out one luxury item that's not so good for your health that you have on a weekly shop and select a superfood in its place. See how you get on. Okay, and do this as a challenge, find a challenge buddy to do this with and see how you go. And then let me know how you got on. I think it's a really good way to do things. I think one of the things that I learned being a practitioner is that you got to give people some tips that they can actually use. There's no point giving them lots and lots of information that is amazing in and of itself, and then they just don't know what to do with it. It just does not meet the objective of working as a practitioner in a clinic that's going to get results. The idea is to get people doing something, and oftentimes they need to be given a clear instruction. So that's one, and I would love to hear how you get on. So before I dive back in, because I can get lost into this, just a reminder that the discussion here is for information purposes only and does not in any way constitute medical advice. For any health concerns, issues, or worries that you may have, related or unrelated, please do consult with your own medical practitioner. Okay, so a few more then. And some of these you're going to be pleasantly surprised because you might just have them in your kitchen right now. Okay, so I love this one. Well, I love them all really, but another one that I really can't go without, and that's garlic. Okay, so we're all familiar with the distinct flavor and fragrance of garlic. Yeah, so related to the onion family, garlic is an incredible food from a nutritional medicine perspective. Garlic boasts vitamin C, manganese, selenium, vitamin B6, fiber, many more nutrients in addition to these. But it's the sulfur-containing compounds in garlic which have really kind of made garlic that superstar. Now, I would encourage each and every one of you listening to today's show, and and also anyone who goes on to talk about this to their family and friends, to go online and research the sulfur-containing compounds in garlic, because I found this incredibly amazing. These are found to have a lot of health benefits, and studies are showing, the potential, usage of these sulfur-containing compounds in chronic health conditions. So a lot of the research is actually talking about the role in cancer. So I would actually spend some time researching this, because what we all want to be doing is preventing these chronic ailments. We don't want to wait till we get a diagnosis. Our body is so resilient, it waits until so much damage has been done before we start to see symptoms in many, many cases. So, we don't end up with chronic disease overnight. We don't end up with, heart disease or diabetes. And this is a general statement that I'm making. It's not a medical opinion or anything like that. What I'm saying is that medical conditions, chronic conditions, do not appear overnight. They're what we actually end up sort of accumulating. Our body culminates in that. It's a manifestation of imbalances on a longer term basis. So things have been going wrong for a while. The body's been giving us kind of, warnings like, I need this sorting or I need that sorting, look into this. And perhaps we've not really paid attention, and then we've ended up with a chronic disease. Again, this is a general statement, doesn't apply to everyone. But what I'm saying is, from my experience, this is what I'm finding, and this is from my own understanding and research. So it goes to say that without exception, that we should be focusing on prevention, not waiting for a cure or for treatment. I'm not saying that people who are there should feel any less important. Absolutely not. You're just as important, if not more. But what we should all be doing in terms of supporting our bodies is preventing ourselves from getting to that stage. I mean, who wants to be sick? You want to be doing the things that you want to do before you leave this world, right? Your body is a trust. In the Islamic faith, we know it to be an amana. It's a trust given to us. We're going to be questioned about our body. We're going to be asked how we used our body. What did we do to look after it? Did we look after it? So we have a huge responsibility. And when you have a family, you're responsible for your family up to a particular age. So that responsibility only increases. So, we have this, our body has a right to be given good food, to be able to be looked after. And it's going to serve us ultimately. I mean, I don't want to be unwell. I don't want to live a sick life. I want to be able to do lots of things. I have so many plans of things that I want to do. And I can only do that if my body's in the best place. So this is why I'm so passionate about this whole topic area of nutrition. It's so big. I could talk all day about it. I'm sure people get sick of me talking about it. But it's so important, So the research with garlic in cardiovascular health is amazing, namely looking at cholesterol modification, cholesterol support and management, blood pressure issues. These are things that have been used for many, many years. This information isn't just kind of information that's appeared today. This is long-standing information and research. Look at the communities that consume these types of foods on a frequent basis, and you can start to see where the health benefits are. So, and again, I'm going to talk about a particular food group, which an ingredient where you can see this, and you can see why the health issues are not the same. So, we really do need to give ourselves the time, invest in ourselves from a health perspective, and see what actually we can do to kind of better our health in the best way possible. So what can you do with garlic? I mean, I'd add it to everything if I could. I add it to soups, stews, stir fries. I would always say, if you've got fresh garlic, you want to crush it or chop it up, let it sit for about 10 minutes to allow it to activate, and then add it to your food towards the end of your cooking. Or if you're going to cook with it at the beginning, you don't want to cook it for too long. Okay, so I don't know how you're going to manage that from a logistics perspective. I don't know, but you can work it out for yourself depending on what you're cooking. But you want to kind of cook it to a minimum, and obviously you'll get a stronger flavor, and that might take time to adjust, because I know when we've always cooked with garlic, we've cooked it till it's no longer there, and I think that's kind of defeating the objective. Work to what you can manage. I mean, garlic is available in granules, in paste form, in salt form. There's so many different ways you can get garlic now, and it's such a versatile ingredient. I certainly think it's one that we should really consider adding to our food on a daily basis. Okay, so ginger, readily available, inexpensive warming root, strong flavor and many medicinal benefits. So ginger root is very rich in antioxidants, and one of the common sort of components that you'll read about when you read about ginger is gingerol. And this is what we kind of find when we read about the health benefits that are associated with, ginger root as a food itself. So that's what you're kind of being, drawn to when you read the research. Amazing for helping with nausea. I used to recommend it a lot when I used to work in community pharmacy. Whether ginger in the form of ginger sweets or a ginger biscuits was something that I used to recommend. You can obviously use the raw version and make it up into a drink or something like that. Amazing for helping with pain relief as well. So you can use that, on a day-to-day basis, incorporate it into your food just to help you get that additional benefit. Obviously, we're not saying substitute this with your painkillers and other things that you may need to help support you with your individual medical requirement, but it's there to know for you that it can be helpful in pain, sort of related conditions. Research is showing that ginger may benefit, several body systems, and you guessed it, cardiovascular is in there again, so heart disease. Also, research is showing that ginger may help with brain health as well, so dementia in particular. So, you can have a look at what the research is showing, how the links are being made. Again, any health condition is going to require a holistic approach. And this is just something that you can add to the pot, if you like, when you're looking at benefiting your health. So again, so many ways to consume. Add it to your soups, stews and stir fries. Can be combined in a sauce that you make. Homemade sauces are great. I add it to flavored water, so I will add ginger, fennel and mint into filtered water into a glass bottle to infuse overnight, and that's really nice. You can also make lots of cleansing type smoothies as well using ginger. It's amazing for that. I love baking with ginger. I use the ginger powder, and I also like to make my herbal teas with ginger. So never a miss when I've got a cold. Ginger's always there, whether I use that fresh or as an organic powder sometimes when I don't have the fresh one to hand. But readily available, easy to incorporate. Again, very strong flavors, might take time if you've never used ginger before to incorporate. But something to try and start adding in, whether you start with small amounts and then build up as you need. Okay, so the super one I wanted to talk about and I've been raving about is turmeric. Okay, so turmeric, you've all probably got it in your kitchen cupboard. I can't believe how long we've had turmeric in the kitchen and I've not ever known about the benefits of turmeric. So the golden spice, it really is gold. Related to ginger, I just can't say enough about the benefits of turmeric. There are so many papers on turmeric. The research is so vast. You could spend just days reading about turmeric. It's just mind-blowing. Bright yellow spice. We see a lot in the Indian culture. So whether they cook with it or they use it in their their celebrations, ginger is just turmeric. Is so useful. So cooking, obviously, going to give us the medicinal benefits as well. Curcumin is the active component. So when you read about the research into turmeric, it's curcumin that you'll probably read most about. Very useful as an anti-inflammatory, as an antioxidant. And that's where the research is kind of really coming into its place. Amazing again, because of this basis for chronic health conditions, heart disease again, diabetes, cancer. Again, you've got lots of support for the body to kind of, stop, us becoming more prone to developing these chronic conditions. Again, this is not, providing medical advice in any way. It's kind of helping you to understand that these are really good ways to kind of support your health from a holistic perspective, alongside everything else that you need to do to get your body into a place where you're protecting yourself from developing these chronic ailments. Very useful for pain. I know I've had it, when I've had niggles of pain here and there. Um, Wound healing is another place that you might find turmeric used. I think they've used it as poultices in many sort of traditional, um, you know, um, medical systems. So you'll see that. I mean, I think my mom mentioned that they used to use turmeric sort of in a pouch, and whether it was heated up or something alongside of fat, and that was used on wounds. So lots of things have been done with turmeric, for many many years, um, in traditional kind of cultures and you know um, communities where this is just not it's not a surprise. It's been done and tested and tried. And again, why not? Why can't we utilize turmeric in a way that's suitable for our day to day, living and kind of way and benefit from what these amazing roots have to offer us. Okay, so one thing that I do kind of advise my clients is to consume turmeric in a fat-based medium. So whether that's milk or whether that's kind of cooked in butter or something like that, because the components are actually fat-based. So fat likes fat. You want to kind of be getting the benefit of the actual components if you are going to consume them. And you can also increase absorption by pairing up turmeric with black pepper. So that's another key thing, another key tip that we will advise patients to do. Okay. So what else can you actually try and readily access? Green tea. Okay, so green tea's been around on the market as a hype for a while, and I know I started stocking up on green tea. When I sort of found out about it. I mean, obviously, green tea is up against competition with other teas, but green tea we know is a beneficial one for sure in terms of a lot of the health benefits that are coming through, being shown in the research. So it's a really good one to incorporate. So green tea is very rich in polyphenols. Remember, these are components from plant-based, food options that we have, antioxidants as well, and these have a range of benefits, including anti-inflammatory effects. So I've talked about anti-inflammatory over and over again because we are generally inflamed, whether that be through our food choices, whether that be through our environment, through our thoughts, through our relationships, through our lack of sleep, through the toxins in our environment. There's so much going on a day-to-day basis that we are inflamed in one way or another. So we want to be incorporating as many anti-inflammatory type foods as we can into our diet. And why not consume green tea? I mean, if you're a tea lover, easy substitute or add to the teas that you're already you're using, making green tea one of them. It's something that you can also try in place of a coffee. Not going to have the exact same effect, but it's something that you can try, and something that I will use as an option in clinic when I'm helping people maybe come down on their coffee consumption because if it's found to be causing problems. But you want to be looking at incorporating green tea into your diet. So the antioxidant that you'll read about when you do your research into green tea is EGCG, and that stands for catechin epigallocatechin gallate. So that's quite a mouthful there, abbreviated to EGCG. So that's kind of what the research is looking into when you're reading about it. So again, heart disease, diabetes, lots of different, chronic conditions, potentially having benefit in management or support by consumption of EGCG via green tea. Okay, so again, this is something that you can combine, as part of, a healthy, well-balanced diet. You don't want to be looking at individual ingredients, as I've mentioned before. We're complex beings. We need a combination of ingredients, and it's about getting that balance. I've talked about the healthy food plate before. You want to be getting There's many different colors of the rainbow when it comes to fruit and veg. Make it veg heavy. Think about how you can incorporate different types of colors on a weekly basis. So you need to vary it. I know it's scary, but start with where you're at and start to build. Get your kids on board, get your family, doing their bit, because it does help. It does help with kind of moving things along, and it makes it fun. You want to be doing something that's fun, not boring. And if you make something into a fun activity, you're more likely to continue it. If you don't, then it's going to probably die away on the wayside. It's just not going to work. So think about how you can incorporate these foods. A lot of these foods are colorful, so you're going to be getting some color, some polyphenols, some antioxidants, fibers, vitamins, minerals. So many benefits you're going to be getting from combining these foods. Why not look at recipes which combine two or three of these? Very easy to do now. And the kitchen is, it's an art. It's not a science. That's what kind of helped me get back into the kitchen and come away from my fear of cooking. You want to look at it as an art. Yes, you want to stick to recipes. You don't want to be like changing things up too much, because you're going to end up with something inedible. But you can chop and change things. There's leeway. It's never a formula like you would have for a medicine. It's not the same thing. And that's what makes nutrition really, really amazing. And the beauty of nutrition comes from that, I think. It's such a massive world, and you find your own place in there. It's not a case of, you having to be the same as your neighbor. You're unique, and, your cooking can be unique as well. So I've done a lot of talking there. I think that's lots for someone to start looking into. I hope that what you've heard today will be insightful for you, for your family, and it gets you looking into things for yourself. Start researching for yourself whilst you seek support from your healthcare provider. As I mentioned before, none of this was medical advice. It's there for you to read about, to learn about, see how you can incorporate, these nutritious foods and practices into your day-to-day living. That's the idea. I'd love to hear what you thought about the show. Anything that you've tried maybe that's worked really well, any additions that you want to also kind of bring to light. Feedback is always greatly appreciated and received. I'm grateful for another opportunity to connect with you. This is Shazia on the Nutrition Show on Unity FM 93.5 FM. I look forward to joining you again soon. Take care until next time. Wassalamu alaikum.